Feel free to check out my TeePublic after the video, and support me on Patreon. Watch till the end of the video for more. Yoshiyuki Tomino originally wanted Space Runaway Ideon to have a 43-episode run, but due to reasons that haven't really been specified, the show would be cancelled prematurely after the 39th episode. As a result, this left the anime series with a very abrupt and unsatisfying conclusion where everyone just dies all of a sudden. Tomino was displeased with this decision, and fans must have been displeased as well, as they'd have to wait longer for a much more proper ending to Ideon. After the show finished airing in 1981, Tomino would get to work on Space Runaway Ideon's true ending as he had envisioned, which would be part of a double billing. On July 10th, 1982, Shochiku and Studio Sunrise released two feature films for Space Runaway Ideon. One was The Ideon, A Contact, which was a compilation film of the first 32 episodes of the anime that ran for an hour and a half, giving a quick rundown of everything that has happened up to that point. The other is the epic conclusion to this saga that covered the final episodes of Ideon, but expand on the last two episodes to much greater depth. This was The Ideon, Be Invoked. Be Invoked would be the precursor to films like Mobile Suit Gundam Char's Counterattack in the sense that it's about one final assault between two opposing factions of war, and the end of Evangelion where there's heavy emphasis on symbolism and themes of total annihilation, both of course having death at every corner. Be Invoked is mainly about the final battle between the solo colonists and Buff Clan. Up to this point, Ideon has had this sort of strategy of the week formula where the Buff Clan would come out with some really cool looking mech designs with these unique alien aesthetics, only for Ideon to just destroy them. Here, the Buff Clan is starting to get the upper hand, having the solo colonists pinned down with soldiers dying left and right. It was also discovered that one of the babies aboard the solo ship, named Piper Lu, is able to invoke the Ideon through its cries, and the character Cheryl is willing to ensure that is the truth by putting the toddler in mortal danger, all just to know more about the Ide itself. Meanwhile, Carla is pregnant with the child of Bess Jordan and tries to bring peace between the two sides, as it can also invoke the Ideon, only resulting in failure as her father, the leader of the Buff Clan, can no longer accept her as his daughter for bearing the child of a solo colonist. And there's a horrific level of irony in the film as the main pilots of the Ideon are out combating the Buff Clan forces as their fellow crewmates are left behind fending for themselves, with many dying in the process. But one thing I do love about Ideon is how it manages to break up the dark tones with more easy and lighthearted ones. Like here when Kasha asks Cosmo for a kiss before what could possibly be their final fight, only for their helmets to get in the way, as they then just shrug it off and wish the best for each other. Last video, I talked about how much of an amazing mech the Ideon is, but I want to talk more about the Buff Clan mechs, as they have this edge of hard sci-fi with lanky, uneven proportions that make them feel really alien in nature. They come off as being really sinister and just adds to the level of uneasiness Ideon already has in place. And on top of that, while the animation for Ideon was pretty damn good for the time, it gets amped up to 11 for Be Invoked, where everything is a lot more refined, with some sweeping and breathtaking shots and some very interesting and well done choices here and there. And again, I have to mention Koichi Sugiyama's scoring, as it brings so much life to the world of Ideon, as it manages to combine beauty and despair with these excellent tracks. As much as I like the opening theme to the anime series, to me, the true theme for Ideon is the introduction theme for Be Invoked. But I cannot forget about the great performances of Yoko Shioa, Keiko Toda, Yo Inoue, Hideyuki Tanaka, Tako Ishimori, and many other excellent talents who poured their souls into bringing these characters to life. And I'm gonna rant a little here and say that I kinda hate it when people mention the everyone dies trope in a negative or ironic light. On one hand, it may come off as a cheap way to end something. I mean, the original anime was kinda like that, but at the same time, a good amount of people tend to undermine the impact such a trope can have on a story. Granted, I haven't watched a lot of anime, but I'm gonna pick a little bit of Caribou-kun's brain from his video on Ideon and point out that a lot of people don't really bother to bring up the context as to why so many people have to die in manga or anime. Let's take perhaps the most iconic example of this trope being Devilman. It's a series that undoubtedly inspired Ideon, as it's also heavy on anti-war themes, and one of the biggest things about Devilman is the presence and portrayal of the other, which coerces us with no choice but to mistrust and destroy each other. Everyone dying serves to complement the intentions of the creator, as this horrific fate was already predestined when those themes were put into place. In Ideon's case, this was bound to happen. When looking into Ideon's origins, what it is capable of doing, and how it works only further solidifies that no one in this conflict is ever coming out alive and well, making the Ideon essentially a death omen beyond all understanding. It's like how people die in Zeta Gundam, Berserk, Death Note, or Attack on Titan. It serves to go in hand with the story as a means to elevate it further and create all sorts of emotions, mainly whatever the creator sees fit, like fear, tension, hopelessness, and confusion. But if you're just having people die all the time for basically no reason, then it's just empty, dull, and really loses the effect. Don't worry, I'll get to Japan Sings 2020 another time. The Ideon Be Invoked is depressing, but in a great way. It truly encapsulates the horrors of warfare and does great work with the themes of rage, sorrow, and inevitable destruction. It is the perfect ending to what is already an incredible series. 40 years later, and Ideon is still fondly remembered by people in the entertainment industry, as it's always being referenced in some way or another. The legacy that Space Runaway Ideon has left behind is truly remarkable. For more of my thoughts on the anime as a whole, check out my review for Space Runaway Ideon. And if you like what you see, then go support me on Patreon, where you can get early access to videos, receive updates, behind the scenes content, commission video requests, and receive a t-shirt of your choice from my TeePublic, such as these designs based on Space Runaway Ideon. Once I reach enough patrons, I'll review the hit anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, so if that's something you'd like to see, then go support me on Patreon. I mean, I'll admit, after making this video, I could use a little break from depressing mecha, so take your time. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is TitanGoji, signing off. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not really feeling the heft of this box. Oh wow, that was easy. Alright. This is nice.